Hey, this is Jonathan with Marketplace Gold, and today I am pleased to be chatting with one of the people that has influenced me a bit via YouTube, which is Satoshi Aoki. How you doing, bro? What's good?
Yeah, what is good? No, I'm doing very well, Jonathan. Thank you very much for having me on the show today. I really appreciate that kind intro, and yeah, really glad to have had even just a bit of an influence on yourself. So yeah, thanks for having me on, mate.
Well, the intro is not complete. So Satoshi Aoki is a real cryptocurrency maven, and he consistently defies the stereotypes about vegans being low energy. He
Yep.
puts out videos. He puts out videos with nice frequency that succinctly break down and analyze different coins, trends, and tools that are relevant to the crypto sphere. And what I like about him is that he makes, I think, solid, good faith recommendations. He will also, if there's something that he doesn't think is something worthwhile of our consideration or potentially investment, he lets us know in no uncertain terms. And I actually heard about and bought Aurus, which is a gold back crypto, on his recommendation.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
In
That's
fact,
that's.
let me grab my Aurus card so
Oh
I
yeah, you got
can
the card there.
show it to people. By the way, we'll start by showing this. And what's what's cool about Aurus is that you actually receive this hard wallet. So, you got like friends and family in your life that they don't quite believe in this whole crypto thing because it's all just, ones and zeros code out there on the internet. They can't quite believe it's real. But then you show them this and you can tell them, look, I've got gold hiding inside of that little card. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, really? Maybe this is not all nonsense. Maybe this is something worth thinking about.
Absolutely, yeah. You are spot on. You are spot on with that, Jonathan. I couldn't agree more. It kind of, yeah, having that physical card, and that's one reason why I kind of put a lot of influence on crypto debit cards in particular, because it kind of brings a bit more sort of green light or validation, I suppose, to the crypto space, and kind of almost, bridging that gap between, maybe what the average person feels or thinks about, this mystery cryptocurrency, and kind of, gives it that sort of, I guess, more of a retail acceptance through, being able to use it with Visa and MasterCard, those traditional, finance systems that I guess the average person is more used to, right? And I think, yeah, that Aurus card is also definitely another example of, yeah, I guess, one of the biggest things I really like about that not just the Aurus company, but some of these other sort of gold cryptocurrency based companies as well, is that I guess they're just doing a lot of bridging of the gap, right, between sort of these older, more traditional investors, sort of stereotypically, and allowing them to actually see that, you can actually get involved in cryptocurrency in, I guess, more of a conservative way, in comparison to, I guess, riskier altcoins and things like that, pump and dumps, and, ICOs of 2017 and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's awesome.
And do you got a few of your crypto debit cards handy there?
I do. Do you want me to grab some?
Sure.
Yeah, I can grab some. So yeah, I've kind of I kind of started out the channel by talking about a lot of these cards. This first one's not actually a cryptocurrency specific card, but it's the curve card. So specific to crypto.com, you can't actually use crypto.com on Apple Pay, but if you attach it to your curve card, which is then attached to an app, you can actually use this curve card to basically, you can use the curve app to apply Apple Pay to the crypto.com card. So if you're someone that doesn't like pulling out that physical card, Curve is a good one to attach to your crypto.com card if you're someone who uses crypto.com. So that's like the Curve card, and that card's actually free. And then I've got the Saffron Swipe card. So that one's also free. I've got the free version only because I hold SXP, which is the token of the Swipe network, but I hold it on-chain staking, which currently gives about 30% APY straight into your MetaMask ERC20 Ethereum wallet. So if people are wondering why I don't stake for the Steel card, it's because I'm just trying to accumulate more SXP on chain while the staking rate is there, because the staking rates probably won't always be so high. This is the
Is the
card.
Steel
Yep.
card actually Steel?
Is the Steel card actually Steel? That's a good question. And to be honest, I'm not 100% sure, but I'd like to think that it is. I think, yeah, I'm not 100. I feel like it. I feel like it's going to be the same as this one here, like the Crypto.com Jade Green card. And I feel almost as, yeah, if it's not going to be Steel, I think people, definitely myself, are going to be disappointed, given that it's called a Steel card, right? Yeah, I know. It's a good question, though. It's a good question. I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure. And actually, people receiving these cards at the moment, I think a lot of these Steel cards have been sort of, yeah, they haven't been manufacturing enough. So people are getting sent the free Saffron card, but still with the perks of the Steel cards. So bit of a shame, but hopefully they can catch up on that.
And
The
for the
Jade,
people
yep,
listening to the podcast, I
yep.
will link below wherever they are listening to this podcast to the Satoshi Aoki YouTube channel where they can see some very nice videos that you have of all these cards with the close-ups on the cards that everybody wants to
Yeah.
take a gander at.
Yeah, it's not, and just to be transparent as well, I'm not. I recently signed not a partnership, but Swipe are an official sponsor of the channel as of recently. But I kind of started the channel purely out of interest of the crypto debit card space in general. I've got a lot of videos on crypto.com, but I'm not affiliated with crypto.com in any way. I just kind of use the cards, and I invested I invested when they were MCO in around 2017, sort of years before the card actually came out, and then kind of just followed the journey along. If you want to see, that's the first one I had. So that's the ruby red card. That was the first
That's
one
the
I
best
had.
looking one for
It's a
sure.
nice. That's a
If you
nice
were trying
one.
to impress a date, that would be the one you'd whip
That's
out
the
of the
one,
wallet.
right? Totally. That one only gives 2% cash back, and then the one that my partner Karina and I are actually using at the moment is this one. So that's the Jade Green. So that gives you free Spotify, free Netflix, and you also get a 3% cash back paid in the CRO token directly into your available balance on the crypto.com app. The first card I ever got was the Wirex card. I had some technical difficulties with that card, so I actually shut down that app. I don't use that one anymore, but I still hang on to it just as a bit of a souvenir. So I don't personally recommend Wirex as a company. The app was quite glitchy, and yeah, I had issues losing some money, but I got the money back. It was just some money went missing, and I had to go through
That's
a bit of
no
a,
bueno.
yeah, no bueno, exactly. I got the Coinbase card just because they had a card available, but there's no extra perks with that card. I've never even used it, but I just thought I'd get it because it was free to get. There you go. I got another Wirex card as well. There's my Aurus card, which yeah, I'm just hodling for the meantime. I've got my Aurus card there, and I think in terms of cryptocurrency cards, yeah, that's all I've got for you, Jonathan. Yeah, they're all the cards
And
there, mate.
stupid question. Can you use those to take money out of an ATM?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you can. So I mean, anywhere. So these cards, I mean, we've got the crypto.com. Yes, we've got the Coinbase. We've got the SXP. They are all MasterCard. Sorry, they are all Visa based. So you can go to any ATM internationally, and you can withdraw cash from that fiat currency up to just typically the same as your standard debit card. So I think the limit on the crypto.com card is maybe, they do change sometimes, but it might be $500 a day in cash that you can withdraw from an ATM. So it works in the same way as a traditional debit card, except we're just getting that cash back, and there are other perks that do come with the card. The only downside is it's a top-up card, so you don't. Well, I'm here in the UK, so we call it like a sort code and account number. Don't know what you call it in Colorado or Bulgaria, but you don't get that sort of, yeah, you don't get that sort code or account number if you want to set up a direct debit, for example. You're not going to be able to have those numbers. That's the only downside. So you can't do like a bank transfer with like a Swift code internationally. But who needs that with cryptocurrency these days? That's kind of like, that's the way I see it anyway. That's kind of one of the big positives of crypto. You can, transfer abroad without the hassle of, having to use Swift codes and numbers and, wire transfers and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
And would crypto.com be your top recommendation for getting a debit card?
Look, I think, look, it kind of depends really. I would say it's going to be between the crypto.com and the swipe card. Look, if I'm being completely honest, and this is me not even being biased about me being sort of sponsored by Swipe, I personally think the best two cards for the average person are going to be between the Jade Green crypto.com and the Swipe Steel card. Okay. The Swipe Steel card gives you a 4% cash back paid in the SXP token. Okay. The Jade Green is giving you a 3%. When you have the Swipe Steel card, you're getting, as far as I'm aware, Amazon 100% reimbursed, Spotify 100% reimbursed, and Netflix 100% reimbursed. And you're also getting some other savings as well. I think there's some on Uber, Travala, and maybe even Booking.com. So I guess you kind of you gotta look, if you're deciding, definitely decide.
100% reimbursed. What does that mean?
So basically, so what it is, so let's just take crypto.com, for example. Okay, so you've got that card. This gives you 100% reimbursement on your Netflix and your Spotify. So you load this card up and you attach these card details to your Spotify Netflix account. Okay. You have the card loaded up, you pay for the Netflix and Spotify with that card. And as soon as that payment goes through for the month, you get 100% reimbursed in the CRO token. The CRO token goes into your available balance of your CRO cryptocurrency wallet on the crypto.com app. And then from there, it's liquid. So you can either choose to hold it in there, or you can, if you want, you can convert it for Bitcoin or Ethereum, another cryptocurrency, or you can load it up straight onto the card and use it to spend. So it's not like, I think a lot of people might be wondering, okay, that's great, you get paid out, but how long do you have to leave the CRO token in the wallet for? You don't have to leave. There's no minimum time. I guess you can exchange it. And that's normally what I do. So normally I'll get my payments back in CRO token for my Spotify, my Netflix. Okay. And then once they come in each month, I'll usually just convert them out for something like Ethereum. And then I'll use that Ethereum to put onto the earn section of crypto.com, where I'm getting 5.5% APY per year based on that. Yeah, sorry, a bit of information. But yeah, you just kind of got to, you got to take it while it's there. That's my approach anyway, all the perks.
Okay, I just got a really devious idea
Yep.
that nobody should do, but I can't resist.
Okay.
Sharing it. Okay, so
All
you're
right.
talking about Amazon,
Yeah.
and there is a hustle that is widely ran on Amazon where there's like a bunch of Facebook groups where different companies are incentivizing 5-star reviews of their products
Okay.
by giving people, they say, buy my product, I'll send you
Okay.
money via PayPal
Okay.
or whatever to buy my
Yes.
product, and then
Gotcha.
buy it and we ship it to you, and then you leave a 5-star verified Amazon review on the product, and maybe we pay you like $10 extra
I
for
see.
the verified review that
Okay.
and then you get to keep you essentially get paid like $10 to trial a product, and then like
Okay.
have no personal integrity with the reviews that you leave on the internet. So
Right.
if you were getting reimbursement on Amazon purchases via that card, like you could like get free stuff off of Amazon, and then like
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, yeah.
I'm not gonna do it, largely because it's so hard to get Amazon stuff shipped here. But
Okay.
maybe there's somebody out there that needs gifts, wants to get sweet gifts for that special person, and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
take advantage of these these giant loopholes that these corporations leave in their systems.
There are a lot of loopholes. There are a lot of loopholes, in these systems that, yeah, no, you're totally right, Jonathan. Yeah, you just got to be, yeah, you got to be smart. You just got to be smart, and you just got to be aware of these things, I think. Yeah, but you're totally right. That's a super
Although I'm,
point.
I'm pretty sure they're going to crack down on that. I don't think that's going to be a way to make Amazon stuff fall from the sky like manna for forever. There's probably going to be consequences at some point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, very true, very true. Very, very true. Yeah.
So I thought it would be interesting to hear your crypto origin story. I'm not sure if you have a video on your channel where you tell that story.
I touched on it briefly. I don't have a video dedicated to it. I kind of touch on it briefly, but not really the whole story. I don't know how much people would want to hear the story, but it is a video I've been thinking of making for some time, and I probably will. You know what it is, right? It's one of those videos where I feel, because I am pretty early on in my, I guess, crypto YouTube journey. I sort of had the channel going for, I don't know, maybe 8 months or so now, maybe 8 or 9 months. So I still feel like I'm pretty early on in the journey. So it's a bit like, I feel like maybe it's one of those videos where I might come across a bit vain, or like some of these YouTubers, they got, I don't know, 100K subs or a million subs, and they just the headline is just like, I made toast for brekkie, and they just put on a 5-minute video of them making some toast, and they get a million views, that kind of thing. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is I thought, I'd wanted to try and get to the channel to sort of some level where I felt like I could make that video and have some people actually, maybe a bit interested in what I had to say, I suppose. But yeah, I will make a video about that for sure. But yeah, look, I'm happy to shed a summary of it, if that's what you want to hear.
Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So where do we begin? So yeah, I got into cryptocurrency sort of uh, what month was it? It was probably around September in 2017. So before the run up to 20K BTC for the first
Mm-hmm.
time. So I got into it before that. I got into it just before we had that ICO boom and everything. I knew nothing about cryptocurrency. Funnily enough, I was actually I was on a 7-week trip, and where was I? I went to Bulgaria. That was one location. And I was in Thailand, and I was in France. So I went to Bulgaria first. This is where I told you I went to Kitten before with a friend. I spent about 5 days there. Beautiful time, cheap, lovely holiday, beautiful weather. Then I went to France and did a trek with a French friend in the French Alps for a week. That was really, really
Ooh,
nice.
nice.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And then I spent roughly a month in Cambodia and Thailand. So I was away for a total of 7 weeks. And when I was in Thailand, one of my best friends from Australia. So I'm from Melbourne originally. So one of my best friends from Melbourne in Australia, he came over to Thailand to meet my mum. My mum's Thai. Came over to meet us, and we did a bit of traveling together. And he mentioned Bitcoin to me. And I said, okay. He said, have you ever heard of Bitcoin? I said, oh, I've got no idea. I had no idea what that is. He told me just a real little bit about it, but we didn't really get into it too much. He basically told me, he mentioned the word Japanese candlesticks and Bitcoin. I think he talked about how a friend of his was investing in something called Ethereum. Okay. But yeah, that's all I knew. And then that kind of ended there. I didn't really entertain the idea of learning more. But then when I got home to London, which is where I currently live, I was living with my Bulgarian housemate who I went to Kitten with. He had already come home earlier on in the trip. And I came home, and he mentioned to me that he was investing in this cryptocurrency called Neo. Okay. And there was a lot of hype around Neo at that time in 2017. He gave me a little bit of a rundown, and I said to him, oh, that's a bit of a coincidence. A friend was just talking to me about Bitcoin on this trip, and I'm pretty like open-minded to these things, and I just read a couple of books a few books by Robert Kiyosaki about financial freedom and all that kind of thing, right? So I kind of like had a bit of an epiphany on this 7-week trip, thinking to myself, I was working as a personal trainer. Didn't really know business was going well. Wasn't really sure, I guess, what I wanted to do for the next 5 years of my life, whether it was to start a gym up or something of my own, or stay in the UK. I wasn't sure. Then I kind of read these books by Robert Kiyosaki. It's kind of like property guru, and I kind of decided to myself, what am I doing? I need to achieve this financial freedom thing. It just has to happen. And so it all came at
Get
like
over on
everything.
the right-hand side of the cash flow quadrant.
Exactly. You're 100% right. You know, this man knows exactly. Getting over onto that right-hand side of the cash flow quadrant, the investor mindset, and the business and the investor, professional investor. I said, I have to get over to this side. It's just there is only one option. I must do this. I was thinking, what's the best way I can do this at the moment with the tools I have? And basically, cryptocurrency seemed like it might be an option. So I basically started small. I got the Coinbase app and I bought my first 300 pounds worth of Bitcoin. I think when Bitcoin was maybe around 3,500 US dollars, something around that mark. Okay, I bought around 300 pounds worth, and I ended up just buying little bits, and then I was having fun with these altcoins. I basically didn't really know what any of them did. I was buying some BNB at ICO stage. I bought some Neo. I got involved in this deep brain chain ICO. I put in $900 and it got to 30,000 at one point and then dumped basically to zero eventually after the ICO boom. But in short, I might have had about 3,000 US dollars invested before the run up to 20K in 2017. My portfolio probably got up to about 50,000 US dollars. I was looking on Blockfolio, seeing my value go up, and I was just like, "This is amazing! I've been doing this for like just a few months, and I'm already going to be retired in like the next year." I was watching this value go up,
I'm
watching the value go
5%
up.
of the way to being a millionaire. I'm
Basically,
getting close. Getting close.
yeah, off just exactly right, just off a few $1,000 investments. I was like, I just couldn't. This is crazy. Like I didn't know what was happening. Anyway, but yeah, I watched it go up and it kept going up and up and up. And then, yeah, I remember I was away in Australia and I think, yeah, early Jan 2018. And then I just remember watching the price go down and down and down and down and down. And it just kept sinking, kept sinking, kept sinking. And I was just a bit like, oh, okay, well, that was a bit short lived. So I didn't sell. So I had some BTC I was accumulating. I had a bit of Ethereum, just some random, altcoins that I had in various wallets. I was just kind of experimenting basically, right? And I didn't sell any Bitcoin for the whole time. All I was doing was buying more. So I was just buying more, buying more, buying more. And as I bought more, I started to spend more time learning about blockchain, learning more about Bitcoin, learning more about altcoins, getting understanding a bit more about mining, about master nodes, and just any ways that you could make passive income from cryptocurrency. Basically, I just found it fascinating, complicated, because I'm not really naturally tech savvy at all, but I was really sort of keen to learn more because I could just kind of see the potential that I suppose cryptocurrency could have. And I guess the more time I spent, the more faith I had in it, and the more I started to focus and worry less about what the price was of Bitcoin, right? But more about just understanding that actually I just need to keep accumulating more because I see this is just going to keep going up, I guess, for the next 5 to 10 years. So I suppose, developed more of a longer term holistic picture for my investing strategy. And I dabbled a bit with trading, but not too much, right? I only kind of know basics of technical analysis at this stage. But I just thought to myself, I don't have to worry too much. I just got a ledger and I just started to just accumulate dollar cost average, buy big chunks of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and just put them aside for the long term. And I basically did that. I have been doing that since 2017. And yeah, I suppose that's really been the journey. And I mean, I was working as a personal trainer as well this whole time. So I'd work as a PT. Any savings I made, I'd pretty much just put all into crypto, diversifying mainly, again, into BTC and Ethereum, but some other altcoins that I do and still did and still do believe in now. And yeah, I guess I kind of just, everyone was saying that it would crash to zero and everything. I just kind of thought, I'm pretty risk adverse. I'll just keep buying more, keep buying more, keep buying more. And yeah, I mean, end of last year, we eventually broke that 20K mark again, I suppose. And I was pretty much sort of thinking, it just didn't even seem real that we broke that 20K mark. But I suppose, yeah, I was just so invested, and I am just so invested. So it was so nice to actually see that happen. And then I guess, that kind of pretty much brought us to where we are now when we're almost looking at like, BTC breaking 50K. And I guess for myself, I'm just grateful that I did just hold for the whole time because it's meant that, yeah, I kind of, it gives it just a bit more validation because as you said earlier on in this chat, a lot of friends and family or whatever, they don't get it. And a lot of them will never get it, but it's not, the way I see it is, a lot of people say this, learning about, personal finance and cryptocurrency or whatever it is, it's no harder than learning how to perhaps ride a bike or do some cooking or, drive a car or something like this. It's a choice that you make, it's a choice that you make to learn about these things. And, the most ironic thing of all is that these same people, that maybe they complain about money, or the marriages fail because of money, or they run out of time and they to not have enough time to spend with their kids. It's all really derived from the pressure of finance and money. And these same people, ironically, they spend time and money on everything else except for their own finance. And that's where they get bitten the most, but that's where they're spending most of their time at their 9 to 5. So yeah, I guess all of that stuff just really kind of like, the psychology of it, it just kind of really fascinated me. And I guess all of that sort of led me to the point, sort of tracking back to sort of 7 months ago, where I'd wanted to start this YouTube channel for ages, but it wasn't going to be about crypto. I was going to do the YouTube about like fitness stuff, because I'm a personal trainer, strength and conditioning coach. But I had made a lot of videos for fitness for clients. I'd done some online programs, and I just kind of got a bit bored with it. So I thought, I didn't really feel like I was qualified to do videos on cryptocurrency, and I was overthinking it a lot, but I kind of really wanted to maybe give it a go. And then I just thought, you know what, I'll just make one video talking about this. That was the Ruby Red, the crypto.com card. I
Mhm.
thought, I'll just make one video about this, talking about my own experience. I'll just make some videos, talking about exactly what I've been through, keeping it 100% real and just talking about my experience and just see how it goes. And I pretty much, I made one video. It got some pretty good feedback. I was pretty happy. Got a few subscribers, a few views, turned a few heads, got a few questions. And I thought, okay, there's something here. And then I just basically got a roll on. And then, from then until now, sort of 8 months ago until now, I've probably made about 160, 170 odd videos, and kind of just followed news, few trends, coins that I've invested in personally. And the channel, as you mentioned before, is essentially only really based around, things that I've tried, the crypto debit card space, altcoins that I like, bit of sponsored content, bit of psychology behind Bitcoin. And then, so that kind of brings us to where we are now, today, really. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have taken informed, calculated risks, and it's been very fruitful for you. And I think
Yeah.
that's a great thing to that's a great thing to share. And yeah, the more mindful that people can be about their attention, the better life gets. We live in a world which is going to voraciously consume our attention with all of these petty kind of things. And we need to have a higher level of agency with where our attention is focused. And that's going to define the quality of finances, relationship, health, etc.
Mm.
So you're a success story in the making. We're early days.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. It's spot on, and I always say this to people, I never try and tell someone, or anybody for that matter, that what I am doing is the one and only thing or way or path that you should follow. I never say that. I'll never tell someone you must invest in this, or you must do that, or you should do this. But what I will say is that, I know what I've worked out, what I want personally on a personal level for, I guess, the next 5 to 10 years. It's not that I'm lazy and I don't want to work for myself or work for someone, but I don't want, I don't ever want to be stressed out about money. Okay. I don't want to have to worry about, doing something or holding back on something to pay the bills. I don't necessarily want to be, riding around in a jet plane, or have a Tesla yacht or something in 5 years or something like that. But I just don't want that. I just want to enjoy life without having the stress of money as a resource. And I think we're at a time now, cryptocurrency done correctly, with proper due diligence and risk management, is certainly one vessel which can be used by anybody. Anybody's got access to make a start. And I think what most people don't do is they just never make a start. A lot of people will talk about it, but it's just about getting your foot in the door and taking that first step. Like when I listened to my friend, I had no freaking idea what Bitcoin really was before I invested and bought my first £300 worth. I had no idea, literally zero. But I just thought, I'm pretty like whatever. It's £300. I'm going to spend that on takeaways or maybe who knows, drinking or partying. It could be anything, So I'm going to blow it anyway. So why don't I just invest some and just see what happens? And it was that first step. It was that first step, just investing a bit, which then started the snowball effect of me being able to just educate myself as an average person, learning more, and then, getting myself into a position where, as you said, yeah, it's certainly, I'd like to think it's a success in the making. Like yourself as well. But yeah, it's nothing out of the ordinary what I'm doing. It's nothing out of the ordinary. I'm not some genius. I'm not special in any way. It's just I've got an understanding of what I want. I figured out the best way to achieve what I want. One of the ways is through cryptocurrency. That's the main way. And I've just educated myself on that for the last 3 years, and that enable it, and it's essentially like people like to overcomplicate it too much, don't they? But essentially it's just about creating more time. It's just about creating more time to do the things that that I enjoy, I suppose. So yeah, people just really like to overcomplicate it. I'm sure you've had the same thing probably with friends and family. They're intimidated or they're scared or of loss and this kind of thing. But again, coming back to this whole irony thing, the way I see it, it's a bigger risk for me not to take these risks in cryptocurrency, because I know that and again, I'm not saying it's wrong to work a 9 to 5. It's not wrong, right? If you are truly living a happy life, working a 9 to 5, and you live a happy life and you have everything you want in life, right? Then that's fantastic, good for you. But for me personally, that's not how I want to live. Okay. But the irony comes where the average person, say, might work a 9 to 5, go home, lose time, their health is bad, they don't exercise, they become stressed, marriage breaks down, okay, and they say, oh, it's too risky, I can't afford to put $100 into Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, it's far too risky, it's far too risky. But the irony comes where, for me, it's too risky not to try something and invest, because if I don't take that step and invest, I've accepted the life. Like if I settle down to work, again, I'm not dishing out on a 9 to 5, but just using it as an example. I can work a 9 to 5. I can be on a contract. I know what the salary is going to be. I can see where my life is going to be in 10 years. I can tell you exactly how much money I'm going to have. But if I take a bit of a
It's
punt,
predictably underwhelming.
exactly, predictably underwhelming, exactly, and that, I don't want to have the predictably underwhelming lifestyle. I don't want that life, and I can't say for sure what cryptocurrency is going to bring in 10 years. I can tell you based on factual evidence and personal experience what it has brought me over 3 years, and I'm very happy. And I personally only see the cryptocurrency space heating up. I think we are not even. I think we have not even gotten started yet. In the cryptocurrency space, I think it's a really great opportunity that unfortunately a lot of average retail investors are going to miss out on, at least in these early stages when it's good to get in. Um, so in me taking, so for me to take these small risks and everybody else sees it as a risk, I'm giving myself an opportunity to live a life that I possibly may not even be able to imagine living in 5 to 10 years. So, and that's where the psychology comes into it, really. But I guess, yeah, that's also something I find really interesting around it. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of psychology, I always urge people to get sunk cost
Hmm.
working for them towards their goals. And sunk cost is just the phenomena where
Hmm.
you spend some money on something and then you're going to be all the more motivated to see something through to fruition. So
Hmm.
I've been kind of interested in the idea of gold backed cryptocurrency
Mm.
for quite a while. But
Hmm.
when I actually spent the £60 or however much it was for the Aurus card and the gram of gold that comes
Mhm.
with it, I was like, well, I just spent money on this. And so I actually went and read their white paper and started wrapping my head around this fascinating trend of tokenization of real world assets. And I started
Mm.
thinking to myself, I was like, wow, I can totally see how tokenization could be a widespread global trend with virtually any kind of asset, with real estate, with
Mhm.
precious metals, with
Mhm.
you can even think about like food stocks. Maybe I started
Mm. Mm.
thinking about how tokenization of assets is probably going to be like one of these major trends. And I was like, well, that would be a trend that is a wave that I would love to be surfing. And without the sunk cost,
Mhm.
that curiosity would have never been stimulated.
Sure. No, you're 100% right. And yeah, just touching on that tokenization and the ability to use the blockchain. And again, it's another ironic thing here. Again, people, I don't know if do that how Bitcoin was used with Silk Road and purchasing drugs off the black market in the
Right.
early
Yeah.
stages and all that stuff, right? So, people are still holding on to that idea of, okay, yeah, anybody who uses Bitcoin is a criminal, they're a terrorist, they're money laundering, or they're buying drugs, and they're just trying to they're trying to keep everything a secret. And that may have been the case for some people in the early stages. But what really fascinates me is people who are, I guess, maybe more anti-crypto or Bitcoin. They use this argument, but things like drugs, things like terrorism, money laundering, they did exist before the creation of cryptocurrency and laundered in the masses. People, terrorists might have paid for, I don't know, terrorism costs with cash, right? Probably with US dollars. So what?
Yeah, actually, with
What's
gold,
yeah?
I was there was an interesting podcast I listened to about how gold is actually used to finance a lot of nefarious
Ah,
nefarious
massively.
things, which I'm
God,
sure which is a story as old as old
ah,
as time. So
absolutely.
I think that we are slowly moving beyond the demonization of this class of very
Yes.
useful currencies that has tremendous potential for transforming the world in a positive way.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. And coming back to that tokenization again, well, coming back to the physical gold part, and you are right. Unfortunately, there is a lot of corruption, a lot of enslavement and things that do happen with physical gold. Unfortunately, like the physical gold ecosystem is not saint worthy. It is extremely corrupt. Some terrible stuff has happened and will continue to happen in physical gold markets. Obtaining physical gold, talking about effects on the environment. People complain about the effects of BTC mining has on the environment. What about gold? What about digging up the earth? I'm not saying that. It's just, I guess, people talk sometimes, physical gold has its place, BTC, Bitcoin has its place. But it's just interesting how there's just not a lot. For every negative thing that gets said about Bitcoin, you could say at least one to two negative things about its maybe its counterpart, physical gold, in that way. Not everything has to be, or can be 100% positive. And then going back to what you mentioned about the tokenization as well. Yes, you are absolutely right. And what I really like, I suppose, about that is, it just, whether it's through food stamps or even sort of government money or taxpayer money. I suppose that the blockchain, or the technology of the blockchain, allows for that transparency, so the average person can see, has access to be able to see what's going on in the process, right? Whether it's seeing the journey of the food that's come from the farm to the supermarket, essentially ends up on your dinner table. It's seeing exactly where your taxpayer money is going. So again, ironically, it's like, no, blockchain is not about trying to hide stuff. Like, actually, we want everything to be we want the information out there for everybody to see. You can be identified to your public wallet address. There is a way to do that. I mean, excluding perhaps privacy coins and things like this, but typically with BTC Ethereum, you can be pinned to your public address. So it's very much not really about things like tax evasion or anything like that, in my opinion. It's come so much further than that. It gives people a level of privacy, but it's not completely anonymous, is it? And I think, yeah, as you said about the tokenization, and even with things like NFTs now, coming into the space, and DeFi and all these, whilst they are trends, sort of NFTs, DeFi, I personally think they're going to stick around. These things are going to stick around. Things, the recent news of what happened with GameStop, and just that disgusting sort of centralized control, and just
Mhm.
and everything like that. I just think, yeah, the penny is dropping, and everything is really just coming together in kind of like sort of this climax now. So yeah, it's just really interesting what's gonna be happening in the next sort of 2-3 years.
Speaking of gold, you did a video on GSX coin,
GSX, yeah.
which is
Yeah.
that's a gold-backed crypto, and is that one you hold?
So with GSX, that was about the idea. So they basically had a pre-sale, which I did get involved with. I didn't invest too much. I think I invested maybe a couple of $100. I got a little burnt from a lot of ICOs, not too much, in the grand scheme of things, but I got burnt on a few ICOs in 2017. So I guess, was very cautious now, I suppose, investing in well, talking about my overall exposure to just altcoins in general, things that are not Bitcoin, essentially. Wouldn't say I'm a Bitcoin maximalist in any way, but I would say that, majority of my holdings, or I suppose probably 80 to 90% of my overall holdings, are in BTC.
Mhm.
So with that being said, it's like, yeah, GSX, I got involved in the pre-sale. I got a couple $100 worth of the token. But GSX, yeah, from memory, it's about I did really like GSX because you're essentially investing in the token that backs the potential growth of these. Well, they were starting off with sort of these mining companies, right? So basically, a mining company would go to a location, they would sort of buy the property, settle down on that property, and they would sort of sign a contract to be involved in, maybe extracting some kind of hello.
This is
Hey,
my
nice to
wife,
meet you.
Ergana.
Oh,
This
nice
is
to meet you.
Satoshi
I'm Earl.
Aoki,
Hello, nice to meet you.
aka Earl.
Yes, real name's Earl.
どうぞよろしくお願いします.
What's that?
He probably doesn't actually speak Japanese.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, I could relate to you with a bit of Thai maybe, but I'm not. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, the Satoshi is from the Satoshi Aoki is from Steve Aoki. Steve Aoki, the DJ.
Yeah. I think I met him once.
Oh, seriously, yeah. Well, I'm not the biggest fan of his music generally, to be honest with you. I do like sort of a bit of techno and house music, but my original name was Bitcoin Zombie Investor, which was kind of cumbersome, I think, but I kind of liked the idea of it, and I couldn't come up with anything else. But then, people just kept saying, you just look too much like you look too much like Steve Aoki. Why don't you make your name Satoshi Aoki? Rolls off the tongue better. It would just be a better name. And I think about 5 different people actually said this in the early, like, first 2-3 months of the channel, where it eventually just got to a point where I couldn't sort of not change the name. I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to change the name to Satoshi Aoki. Just roll with it. Yeah, roll with it. Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, talking about the GSX, I guess with the GSX coin itself, you're investing
Happy
in the.
Valentine's Day, man.
Oh yes, happy Valentine's Day to you too. Yeah, I'm sorry to keep your husband away from you, but I'm sure he'll make up for it later.
I will.
As will I. Yeah. The chocolates are already, the main stuff is done.
Oh,
The
nice, great.
Yeah. But yeah, just touching on GSX. Yeah, I mean, to really, you can make it as complicated as you want, but with GSX coin, you're essentially investing in the idea that you believe in the success of this particular mining company. They go and purchase this land. They set up shop, or they set up a project to mine lithium, for example, and they might be there for maybe 2 years. Okay, so you're essentially investing in a coin. You're essentially investing in the idea that this company is going to successfully make profit from setting up this mining ecosystem in this particular location. They purchase the land, and I guess you are, by buying that particular token, you have a percentage of the rights to this project and this land where they have set up this this temporary project, right? But they've got different ones all over the place. You can select them, and you can actually, from home, you can actually monitor what is going on. You can actually monitor the project in real time. So yeah, they had an interesting roadmap, and why I chose to work with them really is because their idea was just different. It was just a different idea, and it was, I mean, I don't know if you would say it was exactly tokenization, but it was kind of a bit more traditional in the sense that it was bringing sort of like cryptocurrency and blockchain into more of a traditional idea. You know, people have been obviously mining precious metals for centuries, right?
Ever since the Anunnaki genetically engineered us and enslaved us to do it for them.
yeah. That's it. So I guess, again, talking about the Aurus, when we were talking about physical gold before, and how I was saying it was bridging the gap in, you know, bringing, you know, your typical like white collar, old gray hair gold, you know, a Robert Kiyosaki type, although Robert Kiyosaki is massively bullish on Bitcoin now all of a sudden, which also is quite poetic, I think, as well. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just that average, like older white man. He invests in physical gold. It's bringing that stereotype into, you know, the crypto space, and same with, you know, the idea of, okay, you know, we have always perhaps been able to invest in, I don't know what companies would like specifically exist, but you know, you traditionally would be able to invest in these gold mining companies, who would then go and mine the gold, and you could, you know, profit from them. Now it's offering these kinds of investors an opportunity to do that through cryptocurrency, which I think, more importantly, you know, it's less about them investing in the GSX coin itself, but, you know, it's about getting this money, or you know, these trillions, billions, maybe even trillions of dollars in this gold. What is it? The gold's like a $9 trillion industry, right? It's getting this capital flooding slowly but surely into sort of the cryptocurrency space. So that is why I really appreciated these two, you know, types of companies in the Aurus Gold and the GSX token. You know, yeah, they're just doing something different.
Yeah,
basically.
so the GSX is a little bit more of a trust-based thing.
Yes,
It's actually
yeah.
kind of like an IPO where they are
That's it.
they're
Basically.
raising capital, whereas Aurus Gold is actually representative of a gold sitting in a vault in
Yep.
might be London, might be
Yes.
Zurich. I did
Yes.
take a gander at their audits, and they do
Yeah.
have third-party audits that
Yep.
are done. And so that's, you know, failing being able to actually go to Zurich and go and look at the gold, that's about as close as you can get to verifying that they actually do have gold, and
Exactly.
the value of their token has not deviated from the price of gold. I know there's a couple of ostensible gold-based tokens that deviate from the price of gold, which has to make you kind of suspicious of those tokens.
Yeah. No, that's true. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I like, I like the idea of, you know, binding the cryptocurrency with the gold markets, but I have to say, it's, yeah, I kind of, the only time that I ever invested in gold was actually, it was through an app called I don't know if you're familiar with Glint app.
I've heard of it, haven't used it.
You've heard of Glint, yeah. So it was free to order this card, and I got the card. I think, and I might have it here somewhere to show you. I think this might be it here. I'll just show you what it looks like anyway. So yeah, that's the Glint card there, basically. So that's essentially that's a MasterCard, master debit card, and that attaches really simply to an app, and you can just buy gold and sell it on there. And I bought 200 pounds of gold on there. I don't even know why, just to say, to be honest, it was probably more just to say I had some gold more than anything else. And I watched the value of it for about, I think, 2 years, and I watched it go down and I watched it come back up. And then I ended up, after like 2 years, just this 200 pounds I'd put in, it was exactly the same price. It was still just 200 pounds. And so, you know
Not
what,
very satisfying.
it's extremely like, I was just like, you know what, I'm not going to bother with this. I just, I just withdrew it and put it in Bitcoin. I'm going to be honest, because, you know, I just thought, why am I doing this? But I don't know. It's too conservative for me. I'm just too much of a risk taker, to be honest. And
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, got a bit more of a practical question here. For somebody that's interested in taking advantage of cryptocurrency, that wants to secure a bit more personal financial anti-fragility with cryptocurrency, but they don't want to have this metaphorical experience of dating a stripper. They don't want to go through the emotional roller coaster relationship of getting through these dramatic upswings and downswings in value. They don't want to have to be checking the price of Bitcoin every day to make sure that they're not losing their children's college fund or whatever. If college is even
Of
future,
course.
if college is even a thing in the future, what would you recommend to to some person that wants to take advantage and do a bit of investing, but they don't want to have to like bother learning how to read the candlesticks?
Yeah. No, I totally. And that's a very good question. Yeah, that's a very good question, because for better or for worse, a lot of people just simply do not have the time to learn about Japanese candlesticks, technical analysis, reading charts, the different, the thousands of cryptocurrencies that do exist, what they mean, what they do, and why. They don't have time. They don't have time for it. As for myself, I was fortunate in that, I had a plan. I set myself up in a way with my personal training business where I could, unfortunately for me, I was able to be quite flexible and self-employed to give myself time to spend and educate hours and hours and hours learning about, all these different things. So, and I was interested in it. So it's a different story for me. But of course, as you say, a lot of people, they just don't have the time. They got families, they got, girlfriends, boyfriends, wife, crazy job, they're doing overtime, they're stressed already. The last thing they want to do is learn about this new thing called cryptocurrency. So yes, it is a totally reasonable question. And look, I think, the main thing that I would say to these people is, I guess, look, I think the most important thing, first of all, is to, learn. I would even argue in saying that you don't even need to learn the basics before. I would say the most important thing is, if you're interested in it and you don't know a lot, just make a start and make an account with a third-party platform such as, crypto.com or Coinbase or, BlockFi, or there's plenty of them out there, right? But just a more reputable one. You don't need to go into getting like a Ledger hardware wallet straight off the bat or anything like that. But I would say, go for a reputable third-party application, make an account, and just put, what you can afford. Do one very small transaction into Bitcoin. It's as simple as that. Bitcoin is it's the king of crypto. It has the highest market capital. It is the most decentralized out of all the cryptocurrencies, right? It has that 11-year positive track record of price appreciation. Okay, the data is there. The data is transparent. And invest something like $50. I think you can invest as little as maybe even $20, $20 into Bitcoin. Again, not financial advice, but that's my personal opinion, because as I said to you before, that's the first step. Don't worry too much, okay? I mean, think about what you spend, and I'm me talking to the average person maybe out there listening out. Think about, what do you spend $20 on? You go buy a couple of drinks out at the pub on the weekend, you've already spent more than 20 bucks, all right? And you're just deteriorating your health, and building up. Yeah,
I don't
I don't
know.
want to.
They're pretty cheap here in Bulgaria.
Not in Bulgaria. Not
it is to drink here.
not in Bulgaria. No. This is not for a Bulgarian audience. Okay, maybe 20 beers, but maybe Zurich, maybe Zurich then. Yeah, somewhere like Zurich
Yeah,
or
that's probably like
Switzerland.
Zurich.
Yeah, all right, but but even, so it's like, think about what you'd spend $20 on, and don't think of it as, oh, I'm going to spend $20 and potentially lose the money. Just you're taking that, it's an investment in yourself just to get started. All right. Because I think it's really important to get that foot in the door. Because as I was saying to you before, you make that's a symbolic investment. You invest even as little as, it's not about that starting amount, whether it's $20, $30, $40, $50, you're getting a foot in the door. And by doing that, you're going to just bring yourself into the space. You're going to start doing a bit of very light education, light monitoring of the price. It's not a lot of pressure to be under, okay? Most people can probably afford to lose $20, okay? Most average people can. So I would say, yeah, making a start is the most important thing. And then I think after you make a start, I think it's about really just understanding that, Bitcoin, there's a bigger picture around Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Bitcoin was not created to get you or I rich. Bitcoin was created to, democratize money in a sense. It was to give more power back to the average person. It was to take a bit of power away from maybe tyrannical governments or sort of, big businesses, or, it was to give, it was kind of like a Robin Hood situation. It was just to give a bit more back to the average person. This is a message this is something that most people that get into Bitcoin the first time, they won't understand. They'll hear about a friend that made some money, made millions from Bitcoin, and they'll think, oh, that sounds interesting. I can become rich from putting money in Bitcoin, so I'll do it. I'll invest in this fancy digital currency called Bitcoin because it might make me, 5x on my money in a year's time. And that's great, right? But that's not the main reason. That is just a byproduct, okay? So I think the stress, I suppose, where you were saying before, the stress and the insecurity of not being able to the average person not being able to handle the volatility of seeing a BTC go to 20K and then drop to 3,000 in the space of a year, and then sell, or people, unfortunately buying at 20K when they think it's going to go to 100 in 2017, and then selling on the way down at 3K when they think it's going to go to 0 because so much mainstream media is saying that's what's going to happen. These people, unfortunately, they get into Bitcoin. They got into Bitcoin for the wrong reason, and they failed to educate themselves on the simple fact that Bitcoin, talking about Bitcoin specifically and some of the top altcoins, they are a long game. All right. They are a long game. You need to, it doesn't all happen at once, but you need to slowly start to realize and understand the bigger picture. It's not a short-term thing. Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of these higher cap altcoins, they're going to be around for a long time. And I guess if you just understand the reasoning behind, like, why do we have cryptocurrency? Why do we have Bitcoin? It is that democratization of money. It is giving more transparency and power back to the average person. It is, allowing you to transact with your friend or your neighbor or your family member peer to peer without the need for the intervention of that third party taxing you time and money to do so. It is giving you the ability to not have to go through your bank if you don't want to. It's giving you the ability to get better rewards, better than negative interest rates from your bank, or better than, I think, on my savings account at HSBC in the UK, I'm getting a 0.05% per annum, right? Crypto.com and my pitiful, but I'm getting 6% comfortably on my crypto.com app. It's all of these things, all of these reasons. I think the average person, in order for them to, deal with the fluctuation and the swings of price, is to understand what is the true raw deep meaning of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Why is it good for the average person as a society? And I think when people truly, believe that, or they can convince themselves of that, at least for myself, it enables you to deal with it makes you understand that the price swings are kind of irrelevant, okay? If the price of BTC is maybe at 49K now, it could drop to 40K. There's probably some people that bought now at 49K, and there's probably going to be some people that freak out and they sell at 40K. When I'm looking at Bitcoin, I don't care what the price is doing. I firmly believe, based off expert analysis, TA analysis, and fundamental analysis, that we're going to see 100K BTC at the end of this year. Whatever happens in between then, whether Bitcoin drops to 20K, which I don't think it will, whether it goes to 70K, back to 40K, back to 50, back to 35, I don't care. I don't personally care. Because I know that big picture, it's gonna hit that 100K. or around 100K, probably at the end of this year. I mean, I personally made the prediction at the start of this year that we'd see a minimum 50K BTC. That was my prediction. My prediction at the start of 2020 was that we'd see a 20K at the end of 2020. We saw that. My prediction at the start of 2021 is that we'd see a minimum 50K at the end of 2021. We're pretty much already there. So I've changed that prediction to 100, right? Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, arguably the biggest visionary of our entire time, okay, has just invested 1.5 billion into BTC. Okay, what does that
vote of confidence?
Exactly, it's a vote of confidence. It's a green light. PayPal, you can, not in every country yet, but you can buy, sell, hold cryptocurrency. Visa, MasterCard have green lighted cryptocurrency for so long. MicroStrategy entering, I think their entire cash portfolio into Bitcoin. These companies are doing this because they're seeing the value, the intrinsic value in BTC. And again, I know I've said it 2 or 3 times, but I guess it's so important that the average person, that's going to get scared when they bought Bitcoin at 49K today, and when they see the price of Bitcoin drop down to 40K, if it ever does, right? Don't freak out. They don't freak out, because the price movement may have changed, okay, but the fundamental value of it hasn't changed. You've got to understand, BTC will be at 49K. If BTC drops to 40K, the only thing that's going to happen is that more of these institutional investors, hedge funds, etc., they're just buying more, okay? All they're doing is just adding to their positions, and it's that adding to their position, and it's this institutional money, billions of dollars publicly flowing into the space now, which I personally believe is going to create that support level to the price, which has really never been seen before. I guess it's what makes that 2017 bubble different to now, us being in 2021 now. We didn't have the mass institutional money propping up that support level price above 20,000. Now we've got it. It's here. You can publicly see, the billions of dollars entering the space. Investing in Bitcoin now is going to be like investing in Amazon, Apple, these internet startups, back in sort of the 90s when they sort of just started out. Okay. So yeah, I guess to really summarize, I know it's a bit elaborate, but for the average person watching, you don't need to spend time worrying about trading. You don't need to spend time worrying about the volatility. Open a wallet, take your first step, buy a little bit of Bitcoin, and just understand the value in cryptocurrency is it's not about some random digital currency that can just make you rich overnight. That can happen, and it's a byproduct. It's a positive byproduct for you as an investor when you choose to invest in the BTC space. But take some time, and it's not a lot of time, but take some time and listen to a few influencers and people that know their stuff about cryptocurrency, and understand the real value of cryptocurrency, why it was created. It was to give power back to the average person, and it was just to democratize money in a fairer way, create transparency between nations, break down borders, that kind of thing. So there's a real value, there's a real value.
There's a moral mission.
It's a moral mission, absolutely. So when you invest, exactly right. So when you invest in cryptocurrency, you are investing in, in the support of this moral mission. Okay, you're supporting the growth of this space, and that's how I think about it. So as I said before, when I see these dips and fluctuations and everything like that, it doesn't bother me, not a single bit, because I'm watching what's happening on a fundamental level. But it's funny, isn't it? It's so interesting. BTC price moves, it drops 10K. Oh my God, people freak out. You'll get DMs and everything. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? It's dropping in price. Don't worry. You just got to focus on the fundamentals. Don't be swung up by the price. And, again, for that average person, you don't need to spend a lot of time, just dollar cost average. You work your 9 to 5, whatever job you have. Again, not financial advice, but you could invest something like 5 to 10% of what you would normally save and dollar cost average into something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, okay, for the long term. See it as an investment, just like you would into a normal savings account, because again, it comes back to that whole risk and the irony behind that risk thing. People are so, oh, no, it's too risky. I'm just going to put all my savings in cash, which just over time gets vigorously eaten up, depending on what country you're in, gets eaten up through inflation. So again, you choose to save 100% of your wealth from your job in cash. You're pretty much accepting the fact that your currency, your government currency, government paper currency is just going to be devalued over time. All right. Bitcoin's a deflationary model. It's literally been doing, BTC has, and it's not an idea, it's not a speculation. You know, people think, oh, I get this argument as well. Oh, you know, how do we know Bitcoin's going to be successful? Will Bitcoin be something successful? Bitcoin already is successful. This is what people don't understand. People that invested in Bitcoin in 09 and 010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 and held, if they invested enough, they're financially free now. It's done the job for these people already. All right. The job is already done. Bitcoin for many people is already a success story. So it's not about, is Bitcoin going to be a thing? It is a thing. It already has become a thing. And in my opinion, it's not even started. It's going to continue to be a thing. And the people that are holding long term, you know, holding Bitcoin and the right cryptocurrencies long term, you're going to experience some really fruitful gains in the long term. You know,
Yeah. So I
yeah,
guess
it's just
to return to my really classy metaphor, if it feels like dating a stripper, understand that this stripper is going to grow up to become the Queen of England when
yeah,
when it replaces the dollar, the US dollar, as the world reserve currency, which at
exactly.
this point is about as predictable as the sun rising in the morning.
I believe so. I believe so. I mean, you know, this kind of information, as you talk about the global reserve currency, it's not, again, coming back to, you know, the average person, the person that is afraid, you know, of the volatility, that can't handle that. You know, mainstream media only focuses on price action with Bitcoin primarily. As far as not that I'm not, look, I just believe the general consensus, or, you know, the general focus of mainstream media around cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is, oh my God, Bitcoin is at 40K. Oh my God, Bitcoin's finished. It dropped to 20K. That's it. They focus primarily on price action. But price action is not, it's not relevant. What's relevant is the what's fundamentally going on with Bitcoin. Who's buying in, for what reasons, you know, is it a good thing for our society? Okay. So yeah, but there is information out there. I mean, many banks now as well are, you know, offering to hold. They're offering to hold your cryptocurrency within their bank vaults now. It's like a domino effect, right? Bank by bank, any banks that do not have a pro cryptocurrency department will be obsolete in the next 5 years. That is a fact. Any banks that are not pro cryptocurrency in the
That's
next 5
something.
to 10 years, they will be obsolete. They will not be around anymore. All right. Banks now, you know, you got to think, the elitists, you know, the elitists who own the banks, or, like, you know, you got your Warren Buffetts and these kinds of people who are so anti cryptocurrency. These kinds of elitists now are starting to actually the ones that tried to fight I always like to call it an unstoppable tidal wave force. They're trying to stop it, you know, they're trying to stop it, but they can't. They can't stop the onslaught, you know, of Bitcoin and the right cryptocurrency. So these kinds of people, they tried to stop it for 11 years. Oh no, we're trying to stop it. We can't, you know, we can't. And then now they see what's going on, right? Again, Elon Musk, richest man in the world, biggest visionary, invest 1.5 billion, the biggest green light. You know, I'm also a big Tesla investor and have been for a long time. So again, that was just so poetic for me to see that happen. And these kinds of elitists, these traditional bankers, Warren Buffett, they try to, you know, you don't know what these people are really thinking. Okay, they're like, you got your Peter Schiff types, right? They say, oh no, you can't invest in Bitcoin, yada yada yada. But you don't know if they're holding. They're probably holding Bitcoin for all we know. Okay, they can't. A lot of these people that say that they are anti-cryptocurrency, they can't. A lot of these people can't just come out and say, "Oh, we bought some Bitcoin," because it sets up a bit of a precedent with their community, who are so anti-crypto and so into gold, because it perhaps threatens, you know, using Peter Schiff as an example, it threatens that gold industry, that business. And then, you know, you put fear into the people. So these elitists have to be careful about what they're making, what information they're disclosing about their portfolio to the public. You don't know exactly who is in their ear, but you can know, what you do know is that these Warren Buffett types who, you know, they've got people in their ear saying, you know, Bitcoin, he's not stupid. You know, he might act like he doesn't know anything, but you don't have to be living under a rock. Like a lot of these elitists now, the people that are afraid of losing their wealth from Bitcoin becoming a thing are now starting to understand that actually Bitcoin is a better vessel for making money than our traditional way of finance, how we were making money. Okay. So all the elitists at the very top that been trying to push Bitcoin down for so long, they're all jumping ship now, one by one. One by one, they're all jumping ship. Okay. And once they all jump ship and the ones that don't, they're going to sink. All right. And once that happens, right, next year, maybe at 2022, 2023, the price will skyrocket over 100K. And that's when that retail money is going to flood in. And then it green lights for the average person to say, hey, the bottleneck's been broken. BTC's over 100K. Warren Buffett just came out and said, hey, I've actually just bought 100 billion in Bitcoin. And then all of his investors and supporters jump on. And that's when it's happy days. Everyone, because you got in at the right time. You know?
Sure. I'll add in conclusion here. I really like what you suggest, which is invest 5 or 10%, which you can probably afford to lose. And
Exactly.
and I contend that the best way really to start building a nest egg of crypto is to get paid in crypto, to offer something. We live in one of the economy is kind of crappy almost everywhere, but we still live in one of the very best times to be some sort of entrepreneur or freelancer or have some kind of gig that you're doing. So I urge people to accept crypto to start some kind of business if they don't have one already, and accept cryptocurrency.
Exactly. 100%.
Like I just built a website for a client of mine that is breeding South African boorbells, which are these giant aggressive dogs. These are these dogs that they bred in Africa to fight lions and protect farms. Like the most awesome dog that money can buy. And I told him, and he was curious about cryptocurrency, and he was like, well, what should I buy? And I was like, just sell puppies for cryptocurrency. And these puppies run about $3,000. So I'm like, yeah, just that's the way that you can start to build up your nest egg. And that's really what I am trying to support and encourage with Marketplace Gold, which did you take a look at the website?
Yeah, I had a brief squeeze. Yeah, I did. I'm going to have to look at it in more detail, but yeah, no, I did. Absolutely. And I'll continue to check it out more. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, so I would just encourage everybody to add a listing to Marketplace Gold if they're a freelancer or a business manager, or if they have a brick and mortar type business. It's got a real nice geo directory where people can find you on a world map. And this weekend, I just implemented a cross-referencing feature where people can cross-reference by over 40 different coins for businesses that if people have a lot of people got Litecoin and they want to buy a puppy, then then we could make that happen on my website. Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'll definitely have to have you for a podcast on my channel as well next. We'll get that set up as well to learn more about that as well. That would be, if you're up for it as well, that would be awesome. Because it's a great concept and a great business idea, and definitely something that I guess it's definitely a gap that needs to be filled. What you're doing there, that's a fantastic idea. Get paid in cryptocurrency. I guess it's a bit of a leap of faith, sure, but again, coming back to that thing of if you get that real value of why do we hold cryptocurrency? Why are we adopting to this new digital economy? Then if you truly believe in that idea, then taking the punt on getting paid, or your business getting paid or transactions in crypto, hell, I do it. I always want to accept payment in cryptocurrency if I can, as much as I possibly can. Absolutely. And totally, yeah, it's a great concept. So you being able to facilitate that movement on that level, I mean, that's amazing. I think.
My website is it's not a middleman. It's not like an
Yeah,
escrow or anything like that. I don't want the ethical hazard of
sure.
taking people's money and then
Of
promising to
course.
give it to someone else. My website is just a
Yeah,
place where people can add listings for free and then
yeah,
find someone to deal with.
sure. But you're still facilitating it, but not in a way where you're essentially connecting, aren't you? You're making relationships and things like that, right? As well.
That's the play. That's the play.
Yeah.
Well, I've
Yeah.
got a couple of other questions for you, but I
Sure.
think those would be best to maybe save for a future conversation podcast that we can do. So I would just suggest that people go and check out the Satoshi Aoki YouTube channel. His videos are nice and short and succinct, as I said. And like I said, he makes some good recommendations. So I will link to that below this podcast. And then do you have a website, a newsletter, anything like that going on?
I don't have a website or a newsletter just yet. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate that support, Jonathan. I mean, yeah, if you just head over onto the channel and, if you like what you see, feel free to sub and keep up to date with that. I've just got my Telegram group, just free Telegram group. If you want to, if you like chatting, it's nothing too serious. It's nothing specific. We just have people in there that, we talk about, trading bots and, crypto debit cards, crypto, Bitcoin. It's not like spam or anything like that. We're kind of very anti all of that stuff, but it's really just a bit of a, I guess, just a free support group. So if people are having, some technical issues with, I don't know, anything to do with crypto, different companies, third parties or whatever, there's normally someone in that group that has probably had that same issue and can kind of help with a resolution. Because sometimes I think, whilst cryptocurrency is great, a lot of these I would say some are great, but you've got a lot of third-party platforms. I'm just going to use Coinbase as an example. Customer service is virtually non-existent.
Oh,
And
really? With Coinbase?
yeah, not that I've had like any major issues with Coinbase myself, but it's like they don't have a chat, for example. And I don't know, not to go into it too much, but I just think that, a lot of hesitation. Yeah, I guess, you'd expect a third-party application in crypto, not even in crypto, but just anything where people are taking the risk to invest their money. You want someone on the other side, there to at least be able to respond to your query within the hour with something helpful, a next step or something, if not on the phone, right? People want to know, that they can chat to someone because there are technical issues in cryptocurrency and third parties. It happens. You make mistakes, things go wrong, but you want to know that you can get this stuff resolved. Maybe not right away, but you want to know that the company is there to help you out through a chat system or something like that, right? And I just think, yeah, in crypto in general, it's like it's definitely gotten better, but with some companies, it can be a bit like generally, if you choose the right company, they're going to get back to you eventually, but sometimes it can take a long time or they don't, they're not doing their best to solve the issue and everything like that. So I guess my Telegram group is a space where, we're not giving financial advice necessarily, or we're not, I suppose, experts, but we're just real people that have been through a lot of these issues before, and we just help each other out. It's really just
There's
what it's all about.
115 people in the group, so it's a decent place to avail
Yeah.
yourself of the wisdom of crowds.
Yeah, exactly. And just to connect with some other people, that are just doing crypto stuff, just average people, that are just doing crypto stuff, just, just like the average person. So yeah, just, jump on my Telegram group. It's free. Sub to the channel if you like the content. As for a website, that's something I'm going to have to get working on at some point. I'm thinking about doing
you never know when YouTube is going to kill your channel randomly.
I know.
It's happened to me twice now, so you need to
seriously
to diversify where you're at online.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. You're exactly right. And that, I guess I got Twitter as well, but I guess if you can connect with me on Telegram, if anything else, happens with the YouTube, we can kind of still stay connected, and I can work out how to proceed. So yeah, that's awesome.
Cool. Well, have a fantastic and romantic Valentine's Day there with your lady. Maybe she can make an appearance the next time.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. We can do that. We can make that happen. Definitely. We'll have to, we'll have another chat. I'll get you on the channel as well and talk to you about your projects as well. And hopefully we can keep this a nice sort of ongoing relationship. So no, it's been great. It's been good fun. I've really enjoyed it.
That's what it's all about. Okay. I'm Jonathan with Marketplace Gold. Looking forward to a conversation with you and everyone else.